Welcome to Talking Crap and Stuff with Chip and Honey. Dive into the chaos of real life as we tackle everything from money and relationships to kids and beyond. Join us for our candid conversations with people from all walks of life. Whether rich or homeless, everyone has a story. Come on, embrace the ADHD energy and let's get talking. Hey guys, welcome to the Tariff Anxiety Show. Yeah, where everything terror about tariffs is happening here. All right, well, you know what? I've been kind of hemming and hawing about doing a little podcast on tariffs and the anxiety that it's creating for Canadians. So I thought I'll just do a short little one for you here, kids, and hopefully it'll kind of help you out. I don't think I'm the only one on the planet or in Canada, who's being affected by the constant barragement of tariff news and the destruction it can have and things like that there. So I guess today I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and focus, and I have been for the last few days, but especially today, I'm going to try and focus on things that I can control. Because the reality of it is that it's it's going to be government officials who deal with the real tariffs and stuff like that, right? So and the financial planning of that stuff and things like that. So what can we focus on as individuals? Well, the first thing I'm going to suggest, and I know that those of you who know me and have listened to me babble on over the years, budget, budget, budget. If you don't have a budget, try creating one. Just figure out where your money is going. If you know where your money is going, it takes a lot of stress off your shoulders. So that's the first thing I would suggest, is figuring out where your money is going. And you know what? In a time of anxiety, in a time of uncertainty that we're living in right now, you know what? You might find that's going to reduce your anxiety, because you're not going to have to go like, oh my God, where did all the money go? You're not going to have to say that. You're going to be able to like, oh, here's where the money went. So that's one of the things I'm going to start at. If you smoke or drink or do drugs or whatever, I'm going to suggest you cut back on that a little bit and use the savings to create a nest egg. I'm not saying you have to quit drinking or smoking or whatever it is that you're doing, but if you want to lower your anxiety stress, a nest egg always comes in handy. And you know what? The benefits of cutting back on the tobacco and liquor is not going to harm you. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of you out there are like, oh, look, I got to drink more because of the tariffs. But the reality of it is alcohol is rarely the solution. All right. So just maybe think about that for a little bit. And again, I'm not saying, quit drinking, quit smoking, quit having fun, quit going to the restaurant, quit going to Timmy's and all that. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is find out what you really need and what you really want, and know the difference between wants and needs. That's all I'm trying to say here. And this is a perfect time to start. And I know that when you start a budget, and you start seeing your money and you start analyzing it and you start seeing your nest egg grow, that in itself becomes an addiction. That in itself is I remember watching my nest egg grow and my debt go down. It was very exciting. Now the Bank of Canada dropped the funds or the interest rates a bit again today, so that's gonna help out with loans and mortgages if you've got them that way. Not for everybody, obviously, but it's coming down. With stocks, again, I heard it said the other day, no one has ever gone broke taking profit. So if you have some stocks out there or some ETFs that are making some profit, that are still showing green, and I know that as weird as it sounds, I still have a lot that are in the green. Now myself, in the last about a month ago, I did decide to sell some stocks and ETFs and stuff and take some profit. I want to make sure that I had a fair amount, and I just put it in a ETF savings account. It's not going to make a lot of money, but you know what? It's a set of money set aside that I can feel that, if something happens, I've got that little slush fund that I can go to, and I can use that to do things. If something goes wrong with the car or, whatever. or if I want to go even take a day trip or something. I know that there's a bit of money in there that'll help me out with stuff, and that takes a lot of stress off. It takes a lot of stress off when you got one of those. I want to say, try and learn about tariffs, try and be educated about stuff like that. But the reality is, there's so much shit going on that, if you can educate yourself on tariffs and things like that, and that might help you understand things, for the long haul. Remember history. There was a time, I believe it was in the 90s, where unemployment was around 10% and maybe even higher in some provinces than a national average. Now, 10% unemployment rate is huge. But they're saying, if these tariffs go for 4 years, we could see, 10 to 12 unemployment rate in Canada. So what I'm trying to say is we've survived it before. We're probably going to survive it again. So things are cyclical, right? I mean, so that's one of the things. I mean, that doesn't help if you're the one losing your job, right? I mean, but you know, um, let's hope for the best too, right? Talk to other people too. I find that sometimes talking to the right people, not just talking to anybody, because there's some people who are just gonna make your anxiety even worse when you talk to them about tariffs. And I mean, we all have conspiracy friends and stuff like that. I love them, but there's comes a point where I can't. I can't reason with them. I don't even get it anymore where they're going with their thought process. And I'm like, I let them talk for a little bit, and then I just avoid the subject and I talk about other things with them. Anything but, uh, what's going on right now with the whole MAGA movement and the liberals and conservatives and all that stuff. I try and just stay away from that and talk to people that have a more of a balanced approach. And I do have those people in my life, which is a bonus. That even though they may be on one side of the fence and I'm on the other, we can still talk about it reasonably. And it seems harder and harder to find those people, but seriously, they are in my life, which is a bonus. Just talk to friends. That always helps, right? Even if you just tell them like you're stressed out about it. I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to tell you I'm stressed out about it. That goes a long way too. Um, Try also. Okay, well, exercise is always good for stress, but that's good for any stress. So I'll throw that in there too. We all know. I mean, I try and go to the gym Monday to Friday, try and get a bit of exercise, and trust me, there's some days, the last few days there, oof, Jesus Murphy, I'm not even in the mood to go, but I force myself anyways, and at least I go do the minimum, and at least I come out of there thinking, well, I've done something today. Finding little projects around the house, things like that, just to completely take my mind off of stuff, because I'm a market watcher, because that's what I do, you know. So I've tried to not look at the market right away. I mean, at this point here, I know I'm not selling. I've done all the selling I'm going to do, and I'm not selling stocks that are down, because I know that at some point they're gonna come back, and I don't want to panic. And luckily enough, I'm in a situation where I don't have to panic, or even when I'm panicking, I don't have to sell. So again, if you're in that situation, and good for you. If you're not, then it takes a little more control and a little more um, yeah, a little more work to not sell those stocks when you're freaking out. So, anyways, I mean, and with Canada, obviously, buy Canada. So, I know there seems to be a lot of confusion with, made of Canada as opposed to product of Canada. So let's just kind of work something out here. So just when you think about made in Canada, think assembled in Canada. Think of it as we put it together in Canada. It may come from different places, but we put it together in Canada. It was made in Canada. So now imagine if you baked a cake and you made the batter here, you baked the cake here, and you frosted the cake here. But the flour came from the U.S., the sugar came from Brazil, and the chocolate from Switzerland. Now, because the final baking of frosting, which is a significant step, happened in Canada, you can say made in Canada. So, like, cars are assembled in Canada, but the parts are imported from a variety of places. Clothing may be sewn in Canada, but the fabric is made overseas. Furniture can be built in Canada, but it may use wood from another country. So made in Canada is a bit looser, but you're still getting the major transformation, the major finishing points are done in Canada. So try and think of it that way. And then product of Canada, it's like born and raised in Canada. Okay. Almost entirely Canadian from start to finish. It's a product of Canada. It was born and raised in Canada. Product of Canada. So, it means that almost all of the significant ingredients, the parts, the labor are from Canada. This is a much stricter label. So when you see product of Canada, you're like, that's like fucking Canadian farmers. That we don't have Canadian sugar, but I'm just saying, like Canadian farmers, Canadian oil, Canadian wheat. That's making the cake, right? I mean, there's no icing on it this time. There's no sugar in this cake, but god darn it, no. So you know what I'm saying. So yeah. So basically, everything is basically from Canada. Not it can't be everything, obviously, because we don't have sugar in Canada. But other than that, it's almost everything is in there is Canadian. It's product of Canada. Just think it's the pros do it in Canada. All right. So food like maple syrup, where the sap is harvested in Canada and it's processed in Canada. Maple syrup is that's 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 Canada, baby. That's a product of Canada. All right. Some, fruits and vegetables also grown on Canadian farms, right? We got a lot of, I mean, I remember I lived in BC for a long time. We had a lot of BC apples. Out here, you've got a lot of Ontario apples. Yeah, so basically that's it. So, and remember, product of Canada, pro, just think about it as a pro, it's much stricter because it's got to be pro Canadian. Product of Canada means pro Canadian. Okay, so that's something that we can do as Canadians. Now, personally, I also like to invest in Canada. I think that if you invest on a TSX or the Dow Jones or the New York Stock Exchange or whatever you do, I do like to put a certain amount of my money in Canada. Now, I'm going to be totally upfront with you. It's not 100%. All right. I mean, I wish it was, at times, but I definitely do hold. I mean, and again, this is for years now. We're talking going on 20 years, building my portfolio. So I do hold U.S. ETFs, European ETFs, all kinds of, ETFs from all over the world. And in Canada, of course, I hold Canadian stocks and Canadian ETFs. I would say my portfolio is probably about 65% Canadian ETFs and companies. I like it because I like the dividends. I like my monthly dividend payments, and that makes me happy. And you're not always going to grow as fast as the U.S. market. I mean, the U.S. market tends to give you a bit more money, but like for me, I'm more concerned about my dividend payments and stuff like that, and interest, and et cetera, et cetera. And then growth is always nice, but my priority is right now is the dividends because I'm retired. Anyhow, so feel free to buy in Canada, invest in Canada, and just buy as many Canadian products as you can. Look, I mean, we sell billions and billions or buy billions and billions of dollars a year in the US, right? I mean, so if we just cut that back, I mean, like I read the other day that Canada was responsible for about 140,000 jobs in the US, right? Because of the amount of money, I think it was like $20 billion a year that we spend in the U.S., right? So I mean, you think about that. Like if 10%, if we went to the States and bought American stuff, like 10% less, that would be 14,000 jobs created in Canada. I mean, I'm just I'm not saying they're created in Canada, but what I'm saying is if you purchased in Canada, you'd be creating work, you'd be creating jobs. I mean, that's all there is to it. If you buy stuff and they need more people, guess what? They hire more jobs, right? So anyhow, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's going on. I think it was Colbert the other day there. He said, "Well, it's Monday. It's one day closer to the end of whatever this is." And I thought, I thought, okay, yeah, exactly, whatever this is, and we're one day closer to the end of it. And today, we're one day closer to the end of it again. So, make sure to laugh as Canadians. I enjoy a good laugh. And you know what? I've seen some great Canadian uh, YouTube videos about Canada. Elbows up. If you just hashtag elbows up, I'm gonna try it right now with you right here. Hashtag uh, oop, what? What's going on here? Oh well. Anyways, uh, hashtag elbows up. Ugh, my fingers are numb. Yeah, so you can see there are a variety. Oh, he just got to do so. Hashtag elbows up song. There you go. And then there's a whole bunch of elbows up songs, and there's a whole bunch of cool spoofs going on out there right now with the U.S., Canada, and just showing our sense of humor. And you know what? Sometimes when I'm a little down, I throw a couple of those on, and it just makes me laugh because you know what? Laughing is good. All right, kids, listen, I could go on for hours, and I know you don't want me to. You probably went on a little too long already today. Anyhow, I hope that you can buy Canadian. I hope that you are supporting Canadians. I hope that your job is not one of the jobs that are kind of feeling the hustle and bustle of what's going on here. If it is, I'm sorry for you. I really am. I feel for you. I know I have brothers and sisters who work in industries like building things, and I think a lot of their products do go to the states. So it's one of those things where they're a little nervous too, and I feel for them, and so I feel for you. Anyways, have yourself a good one. I hope you guys join me on my next show. Hopefully, it'll be in the next couple of days here. Anyways, God bless you, and good night, kids. Have a good one.